Hello everybody, welcome back to Everyman Prepping. And what you know, cocaine has been found in the White House. Who did it? What room is it in? Is it in the library, in the residencies, in an office? Where did it come from? Is it Hunter's, allegedly? Is it someone else's? Who knows? Everybody's asking about it. All the mainstream media is asking about it. Even at the press secretary, they're asking the press secretary at the White House what's going on. This is just the shiny object that the mainstream media, powers that be, the White House, the administration want you to look at instead of looking at other stories you should be focusing on. So I want to focus on those stories and not this shiny object, including the new shiny object that came out this morning about Iran and some tankers. I'll show you that as well. But it's all distraction from what I really want to talk about, and that's the attack, proposed attack. It's supposed to happen by the time this video went out. It's a little past midnight over in Ukraine right now, but you know, Russia and Ukraine both said they're each going to attack this power plant. Hasn't happened yet, to my knowledge, for I can tell. It's all quiet over there. Why did that happen? Is it going to happen? Whatever. Let's talk about it a little bit. But before we get to that, take this time to please like, share, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel. So let's talk about this Iranian thing. This is a new shiny object they put out this morning because they're not. I don't think they're not sure about what kind of legs the cocaine scandal will have. Although it's got pretty good legs. Everybody's interested in the cocaine. But we have here that the U.S. Navy thwarts an Iranian attempt to seize 2 oil tankers after shots fired. Sounds very exciting. High seas, pirates, Iranians. So some shots were fired at a tanker. They're flagged by another country, owned by Greece, working for the United States, something like that. The U.S. Navy rolled in there to save the day. It says the U.S. Navy here has said a total of 5 commercial vessels have been seized by Iran in the last 2 years. Is it an important story? Yes. Is it pretty exciting that the United States Navy came to save the day? Yes. It's being put out there as something else great the country did. And like I said, I think it's to distract from what I really want to talk about, what I think you should really be focused on. Like I said, it's important. Keep Iran in check. Could it lead to other escalation in the Middle East? Yes, but I think we all need to focus more on this here because this is more of an imminent danger leading to nuclear fallout, nuclear radiation, Article 5, NATO get involved. All kinds of stuff can happen with what we're not talking about in the mainstream, but what we all need to talk about. So we have here that Zelenskiy came out and said objects resembling explosive planted at the Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant. And so this is a reactor 1. There's 6 reactors there, largest nuclear power plant in Europe. And this is a Russian soldier. They got some Russian pillboxes and fortifications around the plant now. It's under Russian control. They control everything there. The main electricity has been cut off just the other day. They're on backup power. I believe most of the rods have been pulled out, so it's not really producing electricity, but the cooling ponds are still there. You need electricity to run the pumps, because if the pumps aren't running, then all the spit rods in those ponds, they evaporate the water, and then a nuclear accident happens, radiation is released, and whatnot. Well, let's continue with what each side is saying before we get into ramifications. Why nothing happened? Is it still going to happen? All that. So, continuing on, it says here that Zelenskiy cited some Ukrainian intelligence that objects have been positioned on the roof of several power plant units, and that is being held by Russia, and they're going to explode them to simulate an attack, simulate an Ukrainian attack. So Ukraine's saying Russia's planting these devices, they're going to explode them and blame Ukraine for it in case this happens, like the standard false flag attack. I think they're talking about on reactors 3 and 4, getting down to even that amount of detail is what they're saying. But then we have Renat Karcha, an advisor to the head of Rosengom, which operates the Russian nuclear network. And they said that Ukraine has planned to drop ammunition laced with nuclear waste transported from another of the country's 5 nuclear power plants. It says, under the cover of darkness, overnight on 5 July, which is right now, like I said, it's after midnight, going into the 6th of July over there, so this didn't happen, but supposedly on yesterday or today in our time, the Ukrainian military will try to attack the Zaporizhzhia station using long-range precision equipment and kamikaze attack drones. And then we have this statement by the Ukrainian Armed Forces that Tuesday, it said yesterday, on Tuesday, that operational data is saying that explosive devices have been placed on the roof of the station's 3rd and 4th reactors, like I mentioned, and then an attack was possible in the near future. So Ukraine said in the near future. Russia said today. Obviously, didn't happen. According to Ukraine, if detonated, they would not damage the reactors, but would create an image of shelling from the Ukrainian side. And they would be able to react under all these circumstances. And lastly, Zelenskiy said Russia's planning on doing an attack. So, attack didn't happen. We got Russia saying Ukraine's going to do it. Ukraine saying Russia's going to do it, and then blame us. It's a major happening, right? If an attack does happen and there is a release of nuclear waste, radiation, all that, it is going to get in the atmosphere. The jet stream, the winds are going to take it, blow it, most likely into Russia, also into NATO countries, Romania, Poland, maybe a few other ones. So what does that do? Well, does NATO say that's an attack on us? We now have radiation within our boundaries, and we're going to war with Russia. Even if Ukraine did it, let's say it comes out and they can prove Ukraine did it as a false flag to try to get NATO involved, I could see NATO come back and saying, well, if Russia wouldn't have invaded anyway, back in February of 2022, if Russia didn't invade, it wouldn't have led to all the circumstances that led to Ukraine doing this. So thus, it's still Russia's fault, and we need to go to war. Article 5, and let's hit back at the Russians. From the Russian point of view, it makes no tactical sense whatsoever in this conflict for Russia to blow up this power plant, even to blame it on the Ukrainians. It makes no sense. You control the site as the Russians. If you're the Russians, you control it. You have your soldiers there. You have your people all around. Are you going to blow this up, kill your own people, radiate your own people, send radiation into your controlled areas and even into main Russia areas? They're like, there's no advantage. I know there's some pundits out there, YouTube creators and all this, trying to conjure up, reasons why Russia would do this. It'll slow the Ukrainians down, give them a chance to stall the offensive and rebuild. They didn't need any of that. I'm not going to say zero. Zero is an absolute minimal advantage at all of Russia doing this. Just like blowing up of the dam that flooded the entire Kherson region. No reason Russia would ever do this. It was no advantage. My opinion, of course, it was the Ukrainians doing it because it flooded the left bank where all the Russians were, where the Russian positions were, the people, the farmland, cuts off water going into Crimea, hurts that. Total advantage to Ukraine. Same with this power plant. Total advantage to Ukraine if it goes down. You can blame the Russians. Nuclear material gets released. They probably hope that the radiation spills into NATO countries, so then NATO can get involved. And then you have your F-16s. You have NATO people get involved. You have NATO retaliation. Looks, that's what Ukraine needs. They need, more help because that offensive they have is not going too well, really. It's, not going so hot. So the fact that it didn't happen today, July 5th, as Russia said, is it because they brought it out in the open? It got stalled and delayed? Maybe. Is it still probable this will happen? Yes, I think it will. They talked about that dam getting broken and eventually did. So this power plant will probably be attacked, either one side or another, false flag or not. In my opinion, it'll probably be Ukrainians or NATO doing it. And it'll probably happen. So we need to be ready for that. You need to be ready for that reaction because once that hits, once radiation is detected, you had all those radiation units being put into Ukraine to monitor. They put all the sensors out. That's going to hit the headlines and people are going to start to freak out. So you need to be prepared before that happens because I think this eventually will. And Russia's also laying its case as to why they need to go after NATO countries. And they're laying the case with, here, let's check out this other article here. Scroll up. The U.S. is complicit in the major drone attack on Moscow. I don't know if you heard, but 5 more drones went into Moscow. Why is Ukraine doing this? You're really poking the bear. You're already saying they're going to do the power plant. Now you're sending drones into Moscow. Sending drones into Moscow, what's it prove? Yeah, that they're touchable. You can reach out and touch them. No tactical advantages. Is it going to get rid of Russia from Ukraine by doing this, kick them out? No. It's more or less just a nuisance to them, saying that we can do this, maybe get their population worried. But it says here that the Russian Foreign Ministry on Tuesday, the Ukraine drone attacks on Moscow and other areas inside Russia would not be possible without the support of the U.S. and NATO. Yes, definitely. The entire Ukrainian war would not be possible without the U.S. and NATO. Ukraine would have run out of weapons by now, people, intel, it'd be done. So, of course, that's a true statement. It says here the Russian military downed 5 drones that attacked Moscow on Tuesday. no casualties are coming from that. And then we have a quote here from the Russian Foreign Ministry. The quote is, "These attacks would not be possible without the help provided to the Kiev regime from the U.S. and NATO allies." So yes, they're laying the groundwork saying, we know you're doing it. U.S. and NATO, we know you're helping them. You're helping them attack, the motherland of Russia. It's just part of the groundwork they're laying for when they do have to go after NATO. When maybe the F-16s are approved and they have to bomb inside, Romania or Poland. These tanks, these Leopard tanks, and the Abrams, soon come, that are getting destroyed and damaged within Ukraine. Well, the repair center is in Poland. Is Russia going to strike the repair center? They might. If I was Putin, maybe I'd do that because, they're helping in the war effort. They put it on the Poland side. They're probably going to hit that. F-16s come from Poland. Probably going to want to hit that. And their justification is going to be like, you're basically in this war. You've been sending drones, intel, and all this. So you should expect to be attacked. So these two stories, very important. Like I said, the nuclear power, that's huge. Nuclear radiation release is, horrible on that, but it's going to cause a crash in the financial world, food supply system. People are just going to, react badly to that in the news. Even though we're way out here in the West, even in Europe, most of Europe probably wouldn't be affected by the release of the radiation, but, financially, stability of the country, it's going to hit, and it's going to be kind of a chain reaction of chaos, in my opinion, but that's what's going to happen there. So, don't look at the shiny objects. Like I said, share these type of videos with maybe friends and family that are, waiting for that next, tweet or TikTok to drop on the cocaine scandal, or the Navy, chasing away a few Iranian tugboats out there, little boats out there that are harassing, oil tankers, all that stuff. Let's get everybody focused on the big stuff, because we don't want a shock to their system when something like this happens. The more people that are open to it when it happens, the less breaking of their mental capacity that'll be. Okay, and that's what we're trying to say, is just more people know about it, the calmer the reaction will be, and the better off everybody will be. So, hope you guys all had a great 4th of July. You exercised your freedoms, maybe rang out some freedom sounds of your own, bought some freedom seeds, participated in great events. But it's back to the grind now, not slowing down, as you can see from the story. So just keep plowing head forward. And until next time, keep your ear to the ground, head on a swivel.